G'day, I'm Paul. So SUVs are all the craze at the moment, but if you don't want a giant whopper SUV, something like this is a good alternative because it looks like an SUV, but it doesn't take up a stack of room inside your garage. It's called the Volkswagen T-Roc. Recently it was updated. We reviewed this a while ago and a lot of you guys absolutely loved it. So I'm keen to see whether they fixed some of the criticisms we had with the first one. This is called the R line. So it sits right at the top there before you jump into the actual full fat R version, which I'm actually very excited to drive. This is priced at a little under $45,000. But if that's too expensive, the entire range kicks off at under 40 grand, which I think is pretty good when you consider what you're getting with it. And I said this in a few other videos, there are parts shortages and stuff. So some of the stuff that we talk about in this car may not actually be available when you go to order. So make sure you check that first. This competes with things like the Ford Puma, the Kia Seltos, Renault Captur, a stack of little SUVs in this segment. So today we're going to do a detailed review of this car. So if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you can use the time codes on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. That way you'll find out every single time we review a small SUV. So let's talk about the exterior. You've got 6 external colors to pick from. So depending on which one you go for, they're all going to cost you money except white. So it'll cost you either $650 or $900. So in terms of the T range, this is the bigger of the two. This is the T-Roc. There is a T-Cross, and I don't know that looks as good. This, on the other hand, actually doesn't look too bad. So down the bottom here, you've got these chrome highlights and R badge here. Keep in mind, this is not the full fat R version. It's just the R line, which is a little bit confusing, but it's still makes people think you're driving the fast one. Down the bottom here, you've got a little piano black section. We've got these LED lights off to the side and also LED lights in here that act as an indicator too. And then you have full LED headlights as well. So I think it is a pretty nice design. I'm keen for your feedback. Let me know in the comments section below. We'll whip around to the side here. So around the side here, you're going to find a set of 19-inch alloy wheels. They're a piano black finish. Look, I like the design, but the problem here is the rotors are so small that they kind of get shrunk into that little space there. So, you know, I think it looks better on the full fat R version because you get a bigger set of brakes, but here it just kind of looks a little bit shrunk, but that's okay. Wheel arch cladding over here. Keep in mind, this is the all-wheel drive version, but it's not really off-road focused. That's why you've only got a ground clearance of about 155 millimeters. It means it is easier to get in and out of, but you're not going to be doing any off-roading. I wouldn't even be doing light off-roading in this because, you know, end up doing a little bit of damage. Up the top here, another R badge there. Then on the top here as well, you have a piano black finish on there. This is actually the same finish they have on the roof as well. So it's a dual tone setup, indicator built into there. And again, parts shortages means you're going to be missing out on some of those features like a 360 camera, depending on when you order and what the story is. Roof rails up the top here, you have privacy glass, a little bit of carbon. I think it's just a sticker. Go around to the back. So around the back here, you have full LED tail lights, a 4Motion badge down here because it is all-wheel drive. Then in addition to that, T-Roc along the bottom here. And then to open the boot, you actually push that in as well, which I think is kind of cool. Up the top here, you have a boot lip spoiler with a brake light integrated into there and then a shark fin aerial up the top. So let me know what you reckon about the design. Do you think this looks good? Or do I need to go get my eyes checked? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. So we are inside the T-Roc. We'll start off with the key. You have lock, boot, unlock, and then the key flips out like that. It is a proximity sensing key though, and then you have a start button just down here. Hey, guess what? Car companies actually watch our reviews and listen because this is all soft now. Previously, this was all just scratchy and yuck, so they actually listened and have changed it as part of the facelift. So that's genuinely surprised me, which I like. So unfortunately, though, they then went and stuck piano black over every surface known to man here, and that kind of takes it back one step, but anyway. And then also the infotainment system has moved up here as well. But yeah, look, I think this is much better presented now than it was previously. In terms of your touch points in the center here, it's firm but kind of soft for the elbow. And then same story on the door there. How soft are they? Well, we've got our durometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, have a look at the link in the description below. Now, build quality, what is that like? It's actually all really nice and solid, very impressive. And our door slam test, annoying beeping there, feels really good. Now, infotainment, I mentioned before that the screen has changed. So it's gone from sort of sitting here somewhere to up there. It's like one of those iPad-esque displays. And that means you're getting now an 8-inch infotainment system with shortcut buttons on either side. It's actually pretty straightforward to use. It has gesture control as well. Let's see if that works. Sort of. I don't know, I find those systems a bit pointless. Yeah, it sometimes doesn't work, sometimes does. It has satellite navigation built into the screen, and in addition to that, you also have smartphone mirroring in the form of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Both of those are wireless. This is what Apple CarPlay looks like. So it takes up the whole screen. It's pretty quick and easy to use, quite straightforward. And then Android Auto, this is what that looks like. Same story, full screen integration. I love that these are both wireless and pretty easy to use. On the radio front, you have AM, FM, DAB digital radio. I promise I don't listen to Triple J. DAB digital radio, and that's all plumbed through a 6-speaker sound system. There is an optional Beats sound system, so that's what's fitted to this car. It's actually pretty good. There's a little subwoofer there as well, so yeah, it's not a bad setup on the sound system. Head of the driver, you have another 8-inch display which features your virtual cockpit. You can switch between a number of different views there. It's all sort of pretty straightforward to use. The only thing I don't love is the buttons here on the steering wheel. They're touch sensitive and they've got haptic feedback, but yeah, they're just a bit clumsy to use. Volkswagen is moving away from these on next generation cars as well, by the way. Now, safety tech. So again, parts shortages. Some of this stuff won't be available if you order a car today, or have one on the way, so just keep that in mind. AEB with pedestrian detection. You have an auto dimming rear vision mirror, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, blind spot monitoring built into the wing mirror over there, rear cross traffic alert, lane departure warning with a lane keeping assistant, and we'll actually test that later on to see how well that works. Rear cross traffic alert, and then finally you have front and rear parking sensors with a reverse view camera. I'll show you what that looks like. There it is there. So yeah, reverse view camera is, not the best quality in the world, but I can make out what's behind us, and then you can see the sonars for the front and rear there as well. Then you have guidelines as well to tell you where you're going. Now, moving on to your practicality, and we'll start off with connectivity. So you have 2 USB-C ports down the front there, wireless phone charging, and a 12-volt outlet. Phone can be stored sort of all over the place. There's a couple of little clever storage spots in addition to your wireless charger. What about your coffee cup? So it can live sort of down here, which is fine. There are no sort of teeth or, there are dividers, I guess, but no real sort of teeth to hold it in place. But there is actually a very handy, literally coffee cup holder in the center, so that actually doesn't work too badly. Holds our bottle in fine, but like I said, no teeth, so that sort of moves around a little bit. Fits inside the door. It's actually a stack of room in there. I think our big bottle will fit as well. That is so cool. There is heaps of room around there. Other storage, you have center console here. That is very small, but still usable. And then finally you have a glove box as well. It's like a little bin. That's great. Now, comfort, you have dual zone automatic climate control. You have heated seats for the front row as well. In terms of seat adjustment, it's electric, so you can go forwards, backwards. Backrest can go forwards, backwards. You can lift the front of the seat, the back of the seat as well, and then you have lumbar adjustment. And you've also got seat memory for the driver. Passenger seat is manual. Seats are interesting. They've got like a faux carbon weave in them, which I think is pretty cool. And then the R logo in there as well. Pretty comfy seats too, which I'm a big fan of. Steering offers both tilt and reach adjustment. That's manual. And then on our reach test, all of this stuff is easy to reach while you're driving. So, second row, it is pretty cramped back here. My knees are kind of wedged into the seat. My seat is pretty far back, but yeah, not a big fan of that. Stacks of tow room though, and headroom is excellent as well. While they did improve all the materials and the touch points up the front there, this is all still pretty scratchy in the back here, which is a little bit disappointing. You do have map pockets in the back of the seats, air vents, and USB-C ports. ISOFIX points for the 2 outboard seats with 3 top tether points. Center armrest here with adjustable cup holders, which I like. So you can pop your bottle in there without any dramas. Bottle fits inside the door as well. Now, in addition to that, you can also fold this down to get access to the boot as well, which is pretty handy. And then our all-important window test. So it's auto up and down. Boom, goes all the way down too. Very impressive. So cargo space, I mentioned before, you open the boot by pushing that. Powered tailgate is an option and fitted to this car. So you have under 400 litres of cargo space available here. It's not a huge boot, but I think it is pretty functional. Beneath the cargo floor, you have a reasonable amount of storage under there. You do have a space saver spare, but you can tuck other sort of bits and pieces into there if you need to. I'm just having a look for a 12 volt here, but it doesn't look like it has one. I'll show you what it looks like with our bags in there. So there's one. I'll pop this second one in. So it doesn't fit in long ways, but it does fit in sideways. So that is pretty good. And then what you can do as well is drop the second row to give you a bit more space. Once you do that, it's actually pretty much a flat floor there, and that expands the space to over 1,200 litres. So we've just hit the road in the T-Roc R-Line. Now, under the bonnet of this 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine makes 140 kilowatts of power and 320 newton meters of torque, and that's all mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Let's see what this feels like at low speed. I'm going to slow right down here and we'll take off gently. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. What are we in? Yeah, we're in comfort mode here, so that's actually not too bad. It's nice and gentle, but not too laggy or annoying, which is good. So tick for the dual clutch transmission in this. And what does it all feel like behind the wheel? Well, typically with a dual clutch, they're quite quick and eager to shift down gears. Let's see if I bury the foot there. It's okay. A little bit slow on the downshift, but once it does grab that gear, it really sort of shunts you back in the seat. Despite this not sounding like it has a lot of power and torque, it is actually a pretty decent number for a vehicle this size. So it does feel quite sort of quick behind the wheel when you do get stuck into it. Now let's talk fuel economy. So Volkswagen claims a combined average of 7.3 litres per 100 Ks. Our long term is currently sitting on 8.6, so it is higher than that figure, but generally with a press car, they tend to have a hard life, and for a long-term average to be sitting there compared to the combined claims, actually not too bad. Now this actually sends torque through an all-wheel drive system, so it means that you do actually have that added assurance as you're going through corners, or if you're driving to the snow or something like that, that you do have that extra bit of traction. And then if you go down here to the drive modes, there's actually a stack to choose from. So you have a snow driving profile, a road driving profile, off-road auto and off-road expert. So they obviously will change things like your stability control and the amount of slip that each wheel is allowed to have. And then if you do press the middle button here, it actually shows you all the other driving modes. You have eco, comfort, normal, sport and individual. So this is all linked to the adaptive dampers that are fitted to this particular car. And you can actually notice a difference as you move between each of those. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it in comfort. We're going to jack our speed up to 130 for our sine waves. So if you've seen our other videos, the sine waves are where we get a chance to see what this is like on poorer quality roads and for things like overtaking. And 130 is the maximum speed limit in Australia, and also a speed limit you're likely to hit on a country road if you are overtaking. So here we go on our sine waves. Let's see what this feels like. Wow, that is remarkably good. That has excellent body control at that top end there. Really just settles nicely and it doesn't fuss about or stay up too long. So really impressed with that. In fact, really impressed with the ride in general. There's enough difference between all of those drive modes there in terms of the feel behind the wheel. And then in and around the city, the ride is fantastic. It really soaks up everything nicely, despite the fact you're sitting on fairly big wheels there. So really impressed with the suspension setup. Okay. Let's go for a little punt here. We'll pop this into sport mode. Oh, instantly I can feel that get heavier and the steering become heavier as well. Diving back through gears, we'll pop it around our track. Actually really impressive. So it has a little bit of body roll there, but it's very eager to start moving. I'm not feeling any understeer, which you sometimes feel in those on-demand all-wheel drive systems. God, it's revving all the way out as well. It's actually not too bad. I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near as dynamic as it is. It's actually quite fun. So I think if this is as fun as it is now, can you imagine how much fun the actual full-fat R model is going to be? I think it's going to be an absolute weapon. I cannot wait to drive that. So coming up to our back section here, this is higher speed. Really communicative. Got good feel through the steering wheel. There's still plenty of traction. As we roll onto the back straight here, I can just feel it sort of winding on more and more power. It's actually really eager to please. So here we go, it's sort of putting on that speed very nicely. So very impressed with that. Nice job, Volkswagen. Now let's chat 0 to 100. I'm going to pop this into sport mode. So the claimed figure is 7.2 seconds, 0 to 100. So I'm actually going to use launch control, and I will switch off stability control as well. Now it's a little convoluted. There is no button here. So you've got to go into vehicle, then settings, and then ESC system, ESC sport. And then to activate, I'm going to switch stop start off as well. And to activate launch control, foot on the brake, foot on the throttle. You'll see a message come up on the screen there saying that launch control is active. So here we go. There it is. Oh, that's nice. Push off the line there, and we'll go all the way to 120 as well, so we can see what our overtaking speed is. It's actually moving along really nice and quickly. Very impressive, that. And there's 120 there. I'll just pull up. Alrighty, let's see how we went. 0 to 100 in 7.3 seconds. Nice, it's pretty much bang on the claim there. And then 80 to 120, 5.6 seconds, which is also not too bad. So it does show that at that top end, it starts losing a little bit of pace. But 0 to 100 in 7.3 seconds, I think, is pretty impressive for a vehicle this size. Okay, time for our reverse test. So I'll pop this into reverse. I left it in sport mode, just in case. Stability off, here we go. That's a hard little cut off there at 30 k's an hour, bang on the dot. So it is time to test our lane support systems and any of these semi-autonomous steering functions. So I'm going to bump the speed up to 70 k's an hour, and let's see how we go. So this has a lane departure warning and a lane keeping assistant as well. It's called travel assist. So let's see how it works. We're going to test it in the 3 outer lanes. So right now it's holding our bottom lane perfectly fine, which is all good. I'll jump over one lane. Let's see how it goes here. Wait for that to go green down there, little indicator. Just let go of the wheel. We're riding very close to that line. Yeah, it's better. It's kind of corrected itself there. So with these systems, they're all designed for you to keep your hands on the wheel, but I'm just letting go a little bit here just so we can demonstrate what's going on. Let's try up on the 3rd lane. This is the one that pretty much all cars struggle with, and it's a sign of how well this system is calibrated. This is interesting. So this has come up with a stack of failure messages on the screen now, and the last Volkswagen we had here, the Tiguan, did the exact same thing. There you go. Maybe we've uncovered a bug here. Interesting, okay. I'll update this video later on once we get an answer from Volkswagen on what is going on here, but the exact same thing happened when we tested the Tiguan here on lane, or the outer lane, so interesting. Okay, so sorry to interrupt your viewing. We've taken a break from filming just so I can run you through the explanation from Volkswagen on the issues we were facing, initially with the Tiguan and then with the T-Roc for our lane support system test. So according to Volkswagen, their system doesn't work, this is what the manual says, on steep roads, and they class that as a steep road because of the angle that it's on. And further to that, they say lane detection doesn't function at that angle because marked roads are not built at that angle. Please test such functions on roads both for which they are designed and which represent real life situations. The whole reason we use that particular section of the banked road is not to test how the car performs on a banked angle. It's actually to test how the car performs when applying steering load, and that is a torque to the steering wheel to keep it within its lane. We found a lot of the better and newer systems will actually apply enough torque to keep the car centered in that top lane, and that is representative of real life as well. Where you approach a bend on a freeway, the car's able to apply enough torque to get it around there. The systems that don't work well typically don't work well on that outermost lane. We can see now that Volkswagens, for whatever reason, don't like that angle because it isn't representative of real life situations, so we won't be testing Volkswagens on that road anymore, but we will continue testing all the other cars that continue to perform well there as well. Okay, road noise, what's it like? There is a bit coming into the cabin here on coarse chip surfaces, especially at higher speeds. So you will tend to notice that if you're doing a highway drive. With a lot of these SUVs, they supersize them from the hatch and don't really sort of add extra padding in. And it's a bit of a shame because it would actually be Beautiful place to be seated if it was a little quieter in here, but you know, it's fine. Not the end of the world, but it is just a little bit noisy for my liking. Let's talk visibility. So I can see clearly down the front of the car there, the wing mirrors are nice and big with the blind spot monitor built into there. Visibility out the back isn't too bad. It's a fairly narrow envelope, but you can sort of see the outer edges, which is nice. And then in terms of parking, you have the semi-autonomous parking mode that makes life pretty easy. So the Volkswagen T-Roc, what do we think? Look, I think it's a little let down by the lack of legroom in the second row, especially if you're buying this as a family or expecting a family. You kind of want just a little bit more space, loading baby seats in and all that sort of stuff. But it does make up for it with a pretty big boot. It is really nice and punchy, and it makes me so excited to drive the T-Roc R, the full fat version. I think that is going to be an absolute hoot to drive. Ride's really nice. It's got all the latest tech bells and whistles, and easy to park, all that sort of fun stuff. So let me know in the comment section below, have you bought one? Are you finding all of these chip shortages and inconsistencies around spec as annoying as I am? Let me know down there. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.